obsessed with the Connie Fife Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Fife Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Fife.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's Connie Fife, and this is the Connie Fife Show. And we are continuing to bring you some really fantastic, outrageous guests that we just love. Those that we call the crazy ones, and that are really making it happen. No matter what has come to them in their life, they've always pushed through it, making it happen. And today's guest is doing exactly that. She's a brilliant businesswoman, and I'm just going to share a little bit about her at 70. Can I really say her age on here?
Please do.
Okay, at 73 years young, she has established herself as a leading voice on anti-aging. And let me tell you, she is a living proof that the fountain of youth does exist. She has written 27 books, 14 of which are New York Times bestsellers. There are currently more than 25 million copies of her books in print. She considers good health her greatest achievement and follows an organic diet. She started a revolution empowering women and men, helping to change the way they think about their health, bodies, and aging. I can go on and on and on about her, but I'm going to invite her into the studio right now. Welcome, Suzanne Somers.
Thank you. So nice to be here, Connie.
I am so excited about you and your new book. As I've shared before, I have followed you for quite some time and I'm loving your skincare products. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But your new book, A New Way to Age, and it's referred to as one of the most cutting edge advances in anti-aging. And that you're taking it a step further and presenting a very revolutionary philosophy for a longer and better quality of life. We all want to know, how are you doing this?
Oh, I drink and smoke and party. And I'm wondering about that. You know, I meet my husband at 5 o'clock pretty much every night, and we have a tequila. And then, because I have a large constituency on Facebook, when the pandemic started, I went on the Stuart Barney show and I invited him to America's biggest virtual cocktail party. And he said, when is it? And I said, tonight. And that's how Tuesday nights began. And then we started doing it Tuesday nights and Friday nights. So what is it? It's, with Facebook, I can reach a lot of people by putting out a couple of ads. Right. And I've got a great team. And one of the things you have to understand as you're aging is look into the generation or two before you, because they're going to be more advanced on technology. And we started doing these cocktail parties. And Alan and I had always had a tequila at 5 o'clock anyway. So I'm just having it with a whole bunch of people. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And what I found was women in particular don't like to drink alone. They somehow, especially my age group, it's embedded in our brains that there's something wrong about us drinking by ourselves. It's so alcoholic-y sounding. But if they could drink a tequila with their friend Suzanne, and she looks like she's having a good time, then it made it okay for them. And that's how this virtual cocktail party began. So is drinking tequila the answer to rolling back the clock? No, of course not. It's the ritual, it's the fun, it's the date.
Yes.
I look forward. I actually really look forward to it. I've been dealing with a fractured hip for the last while, and I found myself saying to my husband, "It's almost 5:00," and so we drink clear tequila.
Okay.
The one thing I haven't private labeled yet, which is I don't understand why, Alan. And
hint.
Yeah.
So is it necessary to drink tequila only?
I like it. And I find with clear tequila, there's little to no sugar.
Okay.
So it's sugar. Sugar
Right.
is not on the best guest list.
No. Okay.
Sugar. I was watching a very interesting program the other night about the Aborigines in Australia.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen that one. It's on Netflix. And this woman, which, by the way, I don't know if you have chin hairs. One of the things you get when you
oh my gosh, yes, that chin hair.
Keep plucking, because this Aborigine woman had long chin hairs. And I said to my husband, "See." And I used to say to my son when he was a little boy, "What I want you to do for me when I'm an old lady is make sure I never have chin hair."
Chin hair. I seen someone in an airport one time. I wanted to go over there and say, "Well, can I take them off?" Yeah.
Just let me just get that one in. Well, I was concerned about a couple down here. Well, this woman had them. It was a beard. It was an absolute beard.
Okay.
And so anyway, I got distracted by her chin hairs. But what I was really, the point she was making was, she said, when they left the Aborigine tribal area and went to live amongst the people of Australia,
okay,
she said the sugar made us weak. And that's when we got diabetes. And I don't know if you've seen this program, but when they brought them back to their natural diet.
Yes.
And they only had that food twice a week. They started getting healthy again, and their diabetes got better. So that's what she meant by the sugar made us weak.
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting, because all the books that I've written, I've written 9 or 10 cookbooks. I can't remember at this point. And then the health books and diabetes. What is your generation? Are you 40s? You sound 40-ish.
No, a little bit more than that.
Okay. All right.
I'm really baby boomer, right on the edge.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm in my 7th generation, my 7th decade, 73. The most important thing that I have found out for myself is to lay off the sugar, lay off the white flour, white rice, lay off the white stuff. It's all sugar. And it's interesting because I wrote a book, I think in the 80s. I think it was called Eat, Cheat, and Melt the Fat Away. And the message in that was no white flour, no white potato, no white vegetables. I was out there first before the South Beach diet talking about that.
Okay.
I heard about it in South France. Yeah. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And they were right.
Well, you talk about eating organic. I very much organic. I mean, when I lived in LA, when we moved out back to the East Coast several months ago, and I was just on a hunt to find farms, because I'm all about, again, organic and eating farm to table. And it was really hard because we moved here in November and middle of winter here. And then COVID hits, and I'm like, is there no one who does organic? And I started getting some things shipped from California that I worked with. But fortunately, now that it is summer here, of course, spring, summer, fall now, we found some really nice farms. So I'm able to hit them and try to avoid the sugar. But I could hear some people saying that's really hard to do, or how do I stop the white flour? Like because I remember, I did that shift several years ago, and it is challenging until I guess you make it beyond and it becomes almost, a habit forming in a sense, or just a different taste, addiction, right? The addiction of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, you can't get enough of it. Once you get back into your body and your taste bud, that's all you want.
Right.
You can't get enough of it. And so a new way to age is understanding if you haven't figured it out by now, it's time to recognize that diet is everything. It's about the food, actually. Mm-hmm. Aging well is about the food, recognizing the higher the quality of food that you put into your machine here,
yes,
the better off you're going to be.
Right.
And food is our fuel.
Right.
And if you had a Maserati, you would never put inferior fuel into your Maserati. You wouldn't dream of it.
Right.
But we have this machine that called our body that is more valuable than any Maserati ever. And yet we put just crap quality.
We'll take care of the Maserati before we're taking care of our own machine.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's about the food. I become very, very cognizant of knowing where our food comes from. None of us really ever think about where's our food come from.
Right.
And these programs I've been watching lately, and it's ironic because I wrote about it in this book, A New Way to Age, that we don't know where our food comes from,
right,
and how crucial that is. The food that we gravitate to, we should know where that meat comes from.
Right.
And we should know what that protein ate, because what that protein ate is what we're eating.
Right.
And if the protein that we're eating is crap, then we're eating crap. And so you follow the not the money, it's follow the trail of the food that you consume determines your health.
Right, absolutely. So you also talk about cell rejuvenation.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you explain that, because I said I was going through some of your material, and I'm like, I thought that was an interesting aspect of it as well.
Well, I don't start a book with a predetermined message. I have used my fame to get to the brightest minds.
Okay.
And it has allowed me to talk to some of the most interesting people.
I bet.
And I don't direct them in any way when I interview them. I let it kind of reveal itself. And I was so surprised that the health of our cells kept coming up with every doctor, every professional, the health of our cells. And I would start asking, what do you mean the health of our cells? And they all determined that if you and I are approximately 40 to 60 trillion cells, depending on our size, and all cells interact with one another, all cells communicate with one another. That's why I was so fascinated by hormones, because hormones are how our cells communicate with one another.
Right.
If you're eating chemicals, and you can't imagine how many people are eating chemicals as their regular diet.
Right.
That is going to take you down a path or a course that is going to lead to poor health. Now, what does that even mean? If you are eating, I wrote a book called Toxic a few years ago. And that was another interesting book and message for me, because I hadn't really thought it through. But the chemicals we take in come in 3 different ways. Through our skin, that's why I have the organic skincare line, through the air we breathe, and through the food we eat. Yeah. So when you put organic skincare on your skin, and if you look at your if you look at your hand under a microscope, what you will see is what we know as pores, P-O-R-E-S, look like big holes. Under the microscope, they're huge, like 50-cent pieces. That's what it looks like. So when you rub chemicals on your skin, if you've got big holes in your skin, that's going to drop into your bloodstream. Now, where's it going to go? It's going to go on a rampage, and it makes its way through the bloodstream, and it eventually ends up in your GI tract.
Right.
When it ends up in your GI tract, then our immune system is the length of a tennis court. Our GI tract is the length of a tennis court, and that's our immune system. So what does that mean? That means that our immune system is mucus. And it's mucus that wraps around the barrier wall of our GI tract. Now imagine that this barrier wall is the length of a tennis court. And around that barrier wall is all this mucus. And in that mucus is antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer. We make interferon. That's all. Those are all the protections to build up our immune system. If you have a strong immune system, you're not healthy. So I was so fascinated that this came up with doctor after doctor, scientist after scientist, professional after professional. And I really decided to pay attention to that. Yeah. And we're in charge.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated, and I'm fascinated by the depth of your knowledge of this as well. And I know that you've been interviewing a lot of top doctors, and part of what you're doing, I mean, it's education. What is your goal for really to get this education out? Let's say to the world, and blanket the world to help them understand how they can treat their body better.
You hope that people love themselves enough to care enough to want to value and treasure this incredible machine called the human body. Mm-hmm. You can't outthink nature, although I interviewed Ray Kurzweil. Do you know who he is?
No.
Ray Kurzweil is a famed futurist. Okay. He is at Google. He is a genius. He even calls himself a genius. I guess when you're a genius, you know it.
You know it.
I spent a lot of time with him because he kept saying, you can't outthink nature. He goes, no, you can't outthink nature. No, Ray, I don't agree. And so he's come up with artificial intelligence, AI, which was everybody's so fascinated by artificial intelligence. I'm not so fascinated by it. Mm-hmm. He took me on a trip that I didn't really enjoy all that much. There's a site called, it's slipping my mind right now. I'll come around to it. Okay. Anyway, you go into this site on your computer, and they ask you questions, and then you can go. Do you want to go further? Okay. And then they ask you more questions. You want to go further? Okay. Now, do you want to go in this room? I think so. Getting a little nervous. And I think it's just technology. It's more than technology. It's where people go to have affairs, where people go to have sex. You're thinking, well, but it takes two. Not really.
Yeah, not really.
Not really. And I'm beyond what we knew as kids. I'm talking about sex that actually feels. When they got there with me, when I went into this door, I didn't want to go any further. There was something threatening about it, something scary about it, something out of control about it. And then I realized, well, the world is really changing. Yes. And do we want to open all these doors? Do we want to go there? So that's not what A New Way to Age is about. But when you talk about futurists, that's where they're going. And Ray is a great guy. He invented the Kurzweil. What's that machine he used for the keyboard for Stevie Wonder?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and the flatbed scanner. So,
Yeah.
if I want to print this glass, I just put it in this printer.
Well, there was something I just seen recently too. They printed a T-bone steak.
And they could.
How is that healthy? That's what scares me.
Right. And how is that a healthy source of protein?
Yeah.
Because they're doing it.
Right. Right. They're doing it. And that's the really scary part. I know a lot of people in the AI space, and they're doing wonderful things, even in terms of vegetables and different things, and they're reproducing them. I just think about that, and I'm like, I don't want to be eating paper or
it's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about. Right.
What I wanted to write about in this book is let's stay in the realm of what we know mostly as normal.
Mm-hmm.
What is aging? Aging is about worn out parts. Mm-hmm. And that you have to pay attention to the sounds of your body and recognize, that part is not working like it used to.
Right.
For instance, with so many of the books that I've written about bioidentical hormone replacement. So what does that actually mean? Bioidentical hormone replacement means that the hormone making ability of your body is now winding down. Worn out parts. Aging is about worn out parts.
Right.
And so, we know when we're teenagers what hormones do to us.
Yes.
We know when we hit our 20s and 30s what hormone replacement could mean.
Right.
When we hit our 50s,
right,
we start not feeling right.
Right.
What is that? Well, that's worn out parts. Your ability to make hormones that keep us feeling juicy,
right,
in the best sense of the word juicy, is no longer operating at max. Now, it's pretty easy to replace hormones in your 40s and 50s. Mm-hmm. You do lab work, you do blood tests.
Right.
You I highly urge women and men to start doing blood work and lab work in their 40s and 50s just to get a baseline.
Okay.
And when you get a baseline, you can see if this is where your baseline was in your 40s, now you're in your 50s. Why don't you look back here and go, wow, I was making a lot more estrogen in my 40s than I am now in my 50s. And I have noticed lately that I'm kind of bitchy. Yeah. I call it 7 dwarves of menopause. Itchy, bitchy, sleepy, sweaty, bloated, forgetful, and all dried up. And when all those dwarves show up at your house,
mine have showed up.
Nobody's very happy, including the person,
right, including myself. Right.
So it's being attuned to the machinery in your body. So we now know we can replace hormones. And I now know, for me and my constituency, that we can replace hormones with the highest quality hormones, which are bioidentical, meaning biologically identical to the human hormone, an exact replica of what our bodies once made or still make a little of. When you put those hormones back,
right,
it all comes back.
It all comes back. It all comes back.
Yes. I've had women come up to me in restaurants in New York City and sit down at my table with my husband and I and start to cry at the change of life, the quality of life in their home since they have been able to replace these hormones. And I get it. But now I'm in my 70s. Can you still do it in your 70s? The answer is yes. Can we do it in our 80s? I'm saying yes. In fact, I had a residency in Vegas up until about 2 years ago at the Westgate Hotel. I had my own room. I loved it. I mean, I really loved it.
Nice.
And I'm walking home. It was closing night for that. You know, you sign on for months at a time.
A period of time.
Take off for a month, and then your contract has you coming back, say, in October. And it was the end of that gig. And I knew I was going back in that October. But I said to my husband, I want to be doing this when I'm 80. I want to be on stage when I'm 80.
I love that. And I have no doubt that you will be. The Connie Five Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Five Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConnieFifeShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. You've had a fabulous career. I always ask someone, what are you going to do next? But I don't think you're ever going to stop. I mean, you're just going to keep on going. Will there be a point where you say, I'm going to take some time for me now?
Well, this is time for me.
It is? Okay.
I love it. Okay. But now it's also about reinventing.
Yes.
If you don't reinvent, you lose out. Mm-hmm. Because the one thing young people have that people my age and your age cannot buy or have is wisdom.
Right.
And it's the greatest of all gifts. The greatest.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because wisdom is the ability to, it's to kind of ride roughshod over your chapters.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or series of chapters. And you look at your chapters and have you gotten everything that you want to get out of each chapter?
Yes.
And I realized that this chapter reinvented itself in a way that I didn't expect. Mm. And it's all about that 5 o'clock tequila drink. I know that
5 o'clock tequila. I'm going to be joining.
Yeah. That alcohol thing, but
yes.
it's like the last act I did, this one that I'm talking about, that I hope I'm doing this when I'm 80. Mm-hmm. We didn't hire writers. We didn't. The only person I ever hire is my musical director, because I don't write music. But this chapter is so interesting to me, because I didn't plan it. What is this chapter? This chapter is sexier than it's ever been. I don't mean how I look. I mean how I feel. Right. And I don't even mean how often I have sex. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's this power between.
It's how you feel the power and the control. And I have this, and I do get it, and I want to be just like you, and just continue to get better and better. But I know we're going to be running out of time here shortly, and I really hate cutting you off, Suzanne. Really quick share, just a few things about your organics and your skincare line. So let people know about that real quick before we have to go.
Well, it was interesting in watching this cooking show the other night. These cooking shows are the most interesting cooking shows that I have ever watched. It's not Julia Child. It's not, here's the recipe and here's how you whip up a souffle.
Okay.
We all know how to do that now.
Yeah, we got that now.
How to do it. You want to make a souffle? I know you can. I can too.
Right.
It's again understanding the value of food. And there is this Indian woman from Delhi, and she said, why? And she's a backwoods kind of Indian woman.
Okay.
She said, why does organic food have to be more expensive? And I sat there and I thought, yeah, why? Why? She said, it's better for you. It tastes better. It heals your body. It feeds your family, the basics. And I sat there listening to the wisdom of this 50-year-old woman from Delhi who was so in tune with her body and how to feed it right and what her body is asking of her.
Yes.
And I thought, she is wise beyond her years. And what you want to do is really value the quality of your food, of organic food, the quality of your skincare. Here's where I'm going to get into my entrepreneurship, because I have an organic skincare line.
Right.
It also has earned the coveted toxic-free insignia. Very hard to get because it means it has to be grown organically, extracted organically, and nothing upwind or downwind of the product can be toxic to contaminate it. Kind of hard guidelines.
Yes.
Very stringent. And yet, that's what my organic skincare line is able to provide to the customer. The customer has gravitated to this product because they recognize the wisdom of putting clean product on their skin. That product is not only going to make your skin look and feel and act better, but that it's also going to end up in your GI tract.
Yes.
And it's also going to interact with your bloodstream. It's something we were talking about earlier that I wanted to focus on. When it gets into your bloodstream, toxins want to go after the fattiest organs and glands. And the fattiest organ in the body is the brain. Now, what happens when the toxins make their way up to the brain, because that's what they want. They get up there, and the brain, the hypothalamus and the pituitary, shrink to make room for the toxins. The more toxins you take in, the more the brain has to shrink. The more toxins, the more it shrinks.
Right.
Now, we're all wondering where ADD and ADHD and OCD and schizophrenia and Alzheimer's and all these brain diseases are coming from. Could it be that the toxins that we rub on our skin, that the toxins that get into our GI tract and make their way through our bloodstream are at the root of all the brain issues of today?
Yes.
And I am not a doctor, and I'm not a scientist, but when I sit back here and I think about that, it makes a lot of sense to me.
It makes a lot of sense, especially knowing and how that is affecting your body and going into your system. My mom, who passed of cancer, she was very, very active. And even when she had cancer the first time, she's like, I'm fighting this. And she fought it, and she was of sound mind and just very, very positive about it, and, watching what she eats and everything that she did. But then she got diagnosed with it again the second time. But the second time, her fight wasn't as strong. I think she, at that point, she said, you know what? She goes, I know what I went through the first time, and I'm not ready to fight this time.
What did she go through the first time?
Ovarian cancer.
I'm so sorry. Did she pass?
She did pass. But I just remember her saying that. Because she was so healthy and so active. And she would always say, I am not going to die with this music still inside of me. And she was a dancer. And so she was still out dancing with her lady friends, and they would go every week. And I think it has, like you said, the toxins in the body, the mindset being very clear. And I think, just bringing a lot of that together. And again, I know you're not a doctor, but you're just so educated on this topic. And I want to thank you for just sharing that with everybody. And I think we're going to take you off air now before Alan stops us again.
He swears that this was an obnoxious robocall, but
well, I am just thrilled.
Obnoxious robocalls. I'm very sorry about Heather. Do you think she gave up?
I do, in a sense, I do, when it came back the second time.
And so what's your message there?
I think for me, my message is don't give up, but do the work before Be proactive.
Yeah.
And, know what you're eating, know what you're putting into your body.
Right.
And,
Right.
to avoid, hopefully to avoid that from happening.
Well, in essence, what you're saying right there is the essence of a new way to age.
Yes.
It's all about the choices we make every day.
Yes, it's about your choice.
And think about how many choices. I always say to my lecture audiences, when you lie in bed at night, make an imaginary list in your head, like there's a piece of paper, and down the center of it, put choices that are leading me towards long life and healthy living, and the choices I made today that worked against it. And you will be shocked.
Yes.
And how many choices you make every day that lead you away from health.
Yes.
And that's what I mean about you are in control. You are in control. And I wish everybody listening a long life, a healthy life. When I was poisoned deliberately 10 years ago, deliberately.
Oh.
I wrote about it in my book, A Knockout. When you are a louder voice and you have a message that goes against business, these things can happen.
Yes.
And the night before I had this surgery for a cancer I did not have, this voice came to me, and it was like a loudspeaker. And my husband was in my little bed with me, and we were both in shock because how did this happen? I'm so healthy. I do everything for health. But he was asleep and the loudspeaker didn't wake him up. And my kids, my grown kids, were at the end of my bed, my stepdaughter, my daughter-in-law, and my son. And they didn't wake up from the loudspeaker. And the voice said this: it's not who you are. It's not what you do. It's not what you have. It's only about who you love and who loves you. And I looked at my husband and I looked at my children and I thought, I have more love than most people will ever have in their lifetime. Yeah. And I was ready. I now know what it feels like to be ready to go. And I thought it was a profound message that we all, every day, pay attention to who you love and who loves you, because that's the answer.
I love it. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't say it. A higher power, somebody else said it, but
it's still coming through you and it's resonating through you. I mean, it gave me goosebumps. So very, very beautiful. Well, Suzanne, I want to thank you for being here with us. This has been incredible. I know you got a lot of great and fantastic things going on. And if you want, you could share with our listeners where they can learn more about your organics products.
Go to SuzanneSomers.com.
Okay.
And then every Tuesday and Friday and most Wednesdays, Tuesday's a cocktail party, 5:00 California time. So wherever you are, figure that out. Friday night, same thing, 5:00 California time,
right.
Or wherever you are. And on Wednesdays at 1:00, I usually do a cooking show. And people, because I have written 9 cookbooks, and people.
Yes, you have.
I grow my own food. I go down to the garden. I pick the food. We come to the kitchen, and a cauliflower just picked from your organic garden has a whole other flavor than the one down in the market.
And that's absolutely, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yes, yes. Well, thank you for being here, Suzanne.
Thank you.
This has been just a wealth of fun, and I just want to thank everyone for being here. It says Connie Fife. And, that's all we have for today. But Suzanne is offering so much more. Learn more about her organics at SuzanneSomers.com. And remember, Tuesday at 5, Friday at 5 Pacific time. And she said, you figure out the time zone there. But check it out. I know I'm going to be.
Good. So, my Facebook page. It's a lot of fun.
So that's all we have for today, folks. Thanks for being here. I'm Connie Fife, your Unstoppable Diva. And challenge yourself this week to be kind to yourself, and especially our heroes that are out there on the front line. They're doing awesome, phenomenal work. And let's just give them a little gratitude. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Fife. Thank you for listening to the Connie Fife Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniefifeshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.